Hey everybody, Zach here for another video on Spiritual Alchemy. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of supplementing yin energy when encountering institutional dogma and perceived authorities. So to start out, I'd like to say that there is no absolute fact or knowledge which is not open to be expanded upon, and I think this is a good intellectual principle to keep in mind throughout this video's information, as well as just in general. You can be an expert on a matter and you could have studied it for a long time, but the knowledge itself is never complete. There's never a finality to completing the understanding of any topic. And I think most, or a lot of authorities on different matters, or perceived authorities on different matters, are going to keep this in mind. But you will see in life instances where someone is presenting you information in a manner that makes it appear as though they have something absolutely figured out 100%. And this is pretty common with institutions, whether it's health institutions or religion. A lot of the different institutions in the Western world create this illusion that they have it all figured out and you just need to listen to them. Don't question it, just swallow what they have to say and they're right. Whether it's doctors or preachers or anything like that. And it's a little bit scary if you take a step back and think about it, that if people are not aware of the importance of supplementing yin, which in this instance is questioning things, if people are not aware of the importance of that, we become fairly hypnotized and are just digesting everything that's being told to us by an authority and putting it in our brain and labeling it as a fact, as something absolute. And this has been going on for a long time. I mean, probably all through human history that this has occurred, but I feel that society, or the Babylon system, as they say, has really mastered this technique and created this sense of just perfection in terms of the realm of science in particular. And I'm all for science. I love it. I love learning it and understanding it. But I always bring forth a certain amount of questioning and the figurative grain of salt, as they say, when encountering anything that appears to be a fact. It is our perception that creates the illusory solidity of absoluteness when receiving information from an authority. We are able to stay open-minded and receive things as neutral information, or we invest our awareness into seeing this person as an authority or this institution as an authority, and in doing so, it allows more of that information to get through us in an unfiltered manner. And perhaps in some instances that's okay. You know, for instance, you have a friend who is very versed in a particular field. I don't know, whether it's a science or a philosophy or anything like that. You trust them. So in trusting them, naturally, you let your guard down a little bit and you let that information soak in more without filtering it. And that might be okay in a lot of instances. But especially when it comes to people that you don't know, culturally deemed authorities, institutional authorities, I think it's really important to remember that they don't know it 100%. They don't know the topic 100%. And they might not necessarily be looking out for your best interest. A friend or somebody you know hopefully is looking out for your best interest. But we need to be careful who we label as an authority and allow to have that title. While it is valuable to learn from experts of various fields, it is also valuable to approach with yin energy in the form of questioning. So to get to the energetic aspect of it, before I go on, let's consider that, you know, yin is adaptable and flexible energy, and yang is solid and piercing and consistent energy. We need a balance of both. But when we see an authority or an institution presenting information as an absolute fact, that is an imbalance of yang energy. They're creating the illusion that what they have is a complete solid structure, that there is no need for yin, there is no need for questioning or adaptability or flexibility. And that has to be inherently incorrect, because everything requires that balance of yin and yang energy. It's okay to look at something and say, wow, this scientist is a genius, he has all these things figured out. But as long as we bring a little bit of that yin energy to the table and say, well, he could possibly be incorrect, or there could be more to expand upon it that he is not aware of. Wisdom speaks for itself. When a person or an institution is investing energy specifically to make you feel that they have it all figured out, myself, I bring more questions to the table in that instance. Because none of us need a guru, none of us need an authority. We can all be the authority on things and share that role, but it starts to look pretty sketchy pretty quick when somebody is going out of their way to amplify themselves, put themselves on a pedestal, whether this is an individual or an institution. So I think it's valuable to bring maybe a couple of grains of salt to the table when somebody is making themselves out to be a perceived authority in anything. Balance receptivity with the grains of salt. By doing this, we avoid being mindlessly programmed by anyone's information. Stay open, hear everybody out. That's receptivity. But bring those grains of salt, bring questions to the table so that it does not just go into us in an unfiltered manner. External input can be balanced with our own pondering and our own intuitive sense. And by doing this, we can adjust the labeling and categorization of where this information goes into our psychology. Everything in our brain and our neurology is based on association. So there's a certain amount of a labeling that occurs, facts from things that are just nonsense. When input comes in, we label it. And it's important to be active in the process of this labeling and not allow someone else to do it for us. And that's directly relevant to this idea. If somebody comes and says, here's a fact, go ahead, take it, put it in the fact folder in your brain, we should probably question it before we just put it in that folder and just move on. This is also very important when you think of child development. I know I grew up hearing all kinds of different things that were facts, and I never even thought to question it. I figured these guys have got it figured out, they're adults, they're smart, they wrote books about it, and it all just goes in unfiltered. And that, if you take a step back, that's pretty dangerous to think about just being raised on the principle that somebody else has the answers and you don't. Think about that for a second. I think everyone has parts of the answer, everybody has knowledge to share, but there's wisdom inside of all of us. It's okay to have authorities on certain subjects and to trust them, but we need to balance it with our own sense of wisdom and remembering that every answer that is external can also be found internally. Everyone has something to teach, but I encourage you all to let no man be the end-all, be-all of any situation. Remember that wisdom dwells within all of us, so we can stay humble, we can stay adaptive, we can keep learning, and we can keep evolving. There's never any completion to it. Let's just keep growing, and anyone who comes to us as a teacher, hear them out. But also remember that you have things to teach that teacher, and there's no teacher that is absolutely infallible on any subject. True knowledge is never stagnant. There is no finality, no completion. There is always the possibility of expanding on a different topic. And so in closing, I would like to also humble myself and remind all of you watching this that I am also not a authority on this matter. This is what I have learned, and I will bring it to you in a very neutral form. These are the things that I have learned about alchemy through studying it for about a decade, and it is all open for expansion. I am not a guru. I am teaching as much as I can, but all of you have something to teach me as well, and I would like to interact with you in a way to where I can absorb that knowledge from you. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the very best.